Welcome to Xara template tutorial lesson number 74, and this tutorial for the Xara Web Designer MX Premium version 8 of the Xara Web Designer software. We're going to talk about a new feature, and the new feature that we're going to focus on is the ability to position on page in respect to two areas. And there's actually some more areas, but we're going to talk about that in another tutorial. But for the two areas in this tutorial, we're going to focus on a fixed position on page, and we're going to focus on position on page in respect to the footer. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that you want to do is go to your toolbar, and you want to select a quick shape. Doesn't matter what quick shape. And if you watch my tutorials, you already know what quick shape I'm going to select. So I'm going to go ahead and just select it, and then go ahead and draw a rectangle on the page. After you draw your rectangle on page, I'm going to go to my zoom options up here, and I'm going to set the zoom factor to 50% so that we can see this whole page. And after you do that, the first thing I want to mention is that by default the page is set to, I'm sorry, not the page, but the objects that you draw in your workspace, they're set to a fixed position on page, usually 99% of the time. I don't know what the other 1% is, but 99% of the time I've seen that it does that. There really isn't any gray area where it won't do that, but if it is possible, there's probably about a 1% chance that'll happen. So what I want to show you is that if you go back to your selection tool in the toolbar and you resize this page, which you should already know how to do, if you resize up, you'll see that the object stays in the same position because it's fixed on the page. Doesn't matter how you resize our web page, the object's going to stay in its exact same position. And it's staying in the exact position in regards to the top edge of your page. And you'll notice that we can't resize the top part of our page. We place a cursor over it, try to make it bigger or smaller, we can't do it. It's not possible. So it's always in relationship to this top edge of the page. So if you could draw a line from the top of the page to the bottom of this rectangle, that's going to be the distance that will always be consistent in terms of a fixed position on page. So just remember that. Not rocket science, very easy to remember. And let's go ahead and select this rectangle or whatever quick shape you have. And then if you right click on it and go to the option that says position on page, you'll see that a flyout menu comes up, and you'll have a few options, and you'll see by default it's set to fixed. And we're going to show you how to use a footer position on page. So let's go ahead and left click and select that. After you select that, let's go ahead and resize the vertical position of our page. If you drag up, you'll see that the rectangle moves up the exact same distance that we shortened the page. So in other words, it retains the same exact distance between the bottom edge of your page. If we were to drag it larger, it still retains the same exact distance between the bottom edge of your page and where the object is located. And if you look at the arrow I have on screen, you'll see that it shows you the distance between the bottom edge of the page and where the rectangle is drawn. Now if we were to move this page up, if I put the arrow on screen again, you'll see that it still retains the same amount of distance between the bottom edge of the page and where that object is drawn. And the same would apply if you had text. If you right clicked on the text and you applied the fixed on page position or the footer, the same thing would happen. But I want to go ahead and resize the width of the page, and you'll notice that nothing happens. And the reason I'm showing you this is to just remind you again, even for this particular option for position based on the footer, it's not affected by the width of the page. It's only affected by the height of the page. And it's going to always be positioned based on the bottom edge of your page. So let's go ahead and actually copy this rectangle, and let's go to our page in layers gallery and lock that panel, and we're going to go ahead and duplicate this first page. And I'm going to go ahead and delete this rectangle that we have on here, and hit delete and hit Control V, and it's just going to paste it wherever in the page. Now if we resize this page, you'll see that it retains the properties from that first object we pasted on the first page. It retains the properties. You know how to do the fixed on page option, and you know how to do the footer option. And I think I've given you enough information to follow that clearly, and hopefully I did. If you did, give me a thumbs up and let me know I'm on the right page. And also, subscribe and bed our video. Help us promote the video. And have a great day. I really appreciate some of the comments I've already received on previous videos, and your feedback that you've given me so far is very helpful, and I hope that you continue to do so. Stay tuned for future tutorials, and it was great teaching you how to use the Xara Web Designer software.